What's going on, Canes fans? Welcome to Walking and Venting, episode number 11. I'm kind of happy, but I'm kind of sad because the season is coming to a close. The regular season, at least. And I just love college football, and that means this series is slowly starting to come to a close here. But I'm also happy because it's Victory Monday. I know, I'm a day late again. I might start doing these on Mondays instead of Sundays. It gives me a little bit of time to get my mind right, actually process what happened over the weekend. And I'm kind of shocked, to be honest, to see so many Canes fans say that Miami doesn't stand a chance against Pitt. Heck, it's game over. We might as well not even play it. Let's just go ahead and wave the white flag, throw in the towel, because this Pitt team that's 8-3 took it to Georgia Tech. Yeah, I watched that game. They came out and played with their hair on fire. They went up 28-0. Looked like it was going to be a blowout. And they did end up winning big. It was 42-28. I think they won by 14 points. Georgia Tech tried to make it a game there late. In the fourth quarter, at one point, they were only down 7. It was a one-score game. But what I want to talk about is the fact that Miami absolutely does stand a chance against Pitt, and I think it's crazy to believe otherwise. I think some of it is the Miami PTSD, which I also feel. Like, I totally understand that. I'm not talking like this is a guaranteed W or anything like that. I'm talking about the people that just think there's no chance here. The 2017 vibes, they ruined the undefeated season. Like, I understand that. And just the fact that it would be the very Miami thing to do. You're right on the edge with the college football playoff stuff. You're not out of the ACC championship, but you need so many things to happen, but you're still, like, right there. And the one thing that would kill all of it would be losing to Pitt. Then it is game over. Then we go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So that would be the very Miami thing to do. And I'm not like doing a Pitt breakdown. Like, we'll save that for the actual preview video. So I want to make it known that I've not done a deep dive on Pitt yet. I've watched a couple of their games, including that Georgia Tech game. So I don't know everything Pitt right at this moment. But what I do know is that every game Miami has played in this season has been competitive. They've lost 2 games by a combined 9 points. So why would we think that this Pitt game is not going to be competitive? Now, maybe you're not with that group that believes that. Maybe you're one of the people that says, okay, hold up, Canes fans. Y'all are overreacting a bit. Like, push the PTSD to the side for a second. I know it ain't easy. And let me know if that is you. I just couldn't believe the amount of Canes fans that have zero confidence going into this game. I know it's away. I know it could be a little bit colder. At least it's at noon, I guess. So that kind of helps. Pitt has, their 3 losses are Virginia, Louisville. Both of those were by 7. They lose to Notre Dame by like 22, but Notre Dame's playing better football right now, right? And the thing is, I might end up predicting a loss once I break this down. I don't want anybody jumping on this video or the preview video and calling me a hypocrite, because I don't know what my prediction is for this game. But I can promise you that even if it were a Miami loss, they're not losing by more than 1 score. This is a 1-score game. It's a competitive game. I don't understand how anyone can look at both of these teams and think that Miami gets their backs blown out in this one. I think that's just crazy to believe that. Just initial thoughts here. But can we talk about also, I know the whole us against the world thing. And, like, we embrace it. We love the hate. But it does get to a point sometimes where it's so blatantly obvious that it becomes annoying. Because I feel like there is this narrative against Miami And so many of the top people in the sports media world are trying to push Miami down and just take a dump on the Canes on live TV. Because it blew my mind, right? Like we as Miami fans were a bit upset about that Virginia Tech performance, right? Like we wanted more. We wanted to win by 40 plus, or at least I did. And then even during the game, the watch party, I was saying, come on, like we got to get it together. We got to blow these guys out. We need style points, and that's what we had been preaching about. And it's because we want to make that push for the playoffs. We wanted to make an impression on the committee. The reality is, and this is where I tell people, you got to separate live in the moment reactions from give me a couple hours or a day or two to process this thing and really think about it. What was the stat they were talking about? Miami scored on 6 of 8 drives. You walk away with points on your first 5 drives. Miami was never in danger of losing this game. Did they dominate Virginia Tech? Maybe that's up for debate. Dominate might be a strong word. They didn't dominate the scoreboard as far as lighting it up and winning by a massive margin here. But Miami was in full control of that game. Never in danger of losing it. Never worried about that. Yet, during that broadcast, ESPN puts up this graphic. Here, I'll put it up on the screen. I mean, you saw it if you were watching the game. Miami survives scare. What scare? What are we talking about? And you know we need to show some love to the #1 sports app, Sleeper. This is probably the only app that I even use on my phone outside of YouTube. I think the sun is just shining right here in my face. Probably because we're talking about Sleeper, my favorite app. Have you downloaded it yet, by the way? You could do so very quickly by clicking the link, the top link here in the description. And make sure that when you do, you plug in code word COOP so you can get a 100% deposit match on your first deposit up to $100 to try out the picks contest. That's my favorite part. I plugged in these picks right here for Monday Night Football, Panthers versus Niners. Simply picking more or less on player stats, you could turn those picks into real money. So you could test your sports knowledge on the Sleeper app. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Get that $20 for free with no deposit needed by downloading it today and just use that link. Let's get back to it. Very interesting, right? With some of the comments on that game, because it's been style points, style points, style points. That's what they've continued to push. And I have talked about that as well, because I think it would be good to win by more. But that's been the whole thing that everybody's been talking about. They got to win big. It's got to be impressive because you're right on the edge. You're probably not going to the ACC championship game. So if you're going to beat these teams, it's got to be in a convincing way. Do what Notre Dame did to Fran Brown and Syracuse. Do you guys think that he laid down in that game? There's this conspiracy theory that Fran Brown threw that game in a big way because he hates Miami and Mario Cristobal so much that he would lose a game in a big way like that because he knows about the Notre Dame versus Miami talk with trying to ignore the head-to-head and Miami trying to close that gap. Do you think that could be a realistic thing? I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm reading on social media. I don't think a coach would be willing to do that. Like, their season is already in the toilet. But would he really be willing to embarrass himself that much? Let Notre Dame hang 70 points on you just to try to make Miami look worse? I mean, if so, then dude would deserve to be fired. If you're willing to put your team in a bad position to make another team look bad, then you should be fired on the spot. I don't care what your record was or what you have going on. So I personally, I don't think that, really. But it's definitely something that's been popular. It's been talked about. But what makes me so upset is they talk about Miami survives a scare against a 3-win Virginia Tech team. But then you go over and you look at this the Utah game. And how much was it they won by? 4. They beat Kansas State. I watched that game. They beat Kansas State by 4 points. Keep in mind, Kansas State is 5-5. And they said, what a tough, gritty win. What a way to find a way to win this game. Wow, hard-fought victory. They did it. Yeah, they also gave up almost 500 rushing yards to a 5-5 Kansas State. So Miami kind of just does what they need to do, never in danger of losing. The game is not close at the end of the day. And then they go on, who this Joey Galloway guy. Yes, I know who he is. But he goes on there and he's talking with Kirk about the Miami-Virginia Tech game. He's literally laughing, calling that last touchdown comical. Here.
A late touchdown with like...
about a little over a minute to go.
Yeah, they throw a ball. Comical.
So you see what I'm saying when it starts to get a little annoying? I don't mind the us against the world, and people love throwing the U upside down, and they like taking a dump on Canes fans and trying to make us the laughing stock of the college football world. But it feels like all the major powers come together and join forces, and they put Miami on a pedestal in the offseason. Could the Canes be back? Here we go. And as we say, I think they do that on purpose. It gets clicks. It gets them the money. And then it's a win-win for them because then they get to turn around and crap on Miami at the end of the year. When realistically, Miami has been, again, competitive in all of their games, even the losses. I'm not sunshine pumping. I'm not coping. I'm being real. They're right there on the outside. Oh, I forgot to add the disclaimer. Disclaimer. You should have handled business against Louisville and SMU. Yes, it's our fault. Disclaimer, disclaimer. Disclaimer alert. Should have said that at the beginning. That's my fault. It's our fault that we're in this position. Miami should have won those games. And then they have no choice. If Miami were undefeated right now, and you have that win over Notre Dame that everybody's sucking off right now, then we're not even having this talk. There's only so much they can say and do. You take it out of their hands, out of their control. Miami took themselves out of the driver's seat. It made it to where they don't really control their own destiny in any of the situations, and it sucks. It's Miami's fault. It's Mario Cristobal's fault. It's the team's fault. However, it doesn't help when they're right there on the edge. Miami should realistically jump Utah, should they not? They struggled a lot more with that Kansas State team, and maybe Miami does jump Utah, but it feels like they're setting it up to where that either doesn't happen or then they plug in a Vandy team who jumps us because they beat up on Kentucky. Like, it just feels like they're trying to set it up so they can bump Miami out. And, I don't know if Miami deserves it or not because, again, they had the 2 losses. Like, I'll be honest, I can set the fandom to the side. But 2 things. I stand firm in what I said, that I believe Miami can compete with any team in the country. They can hang. I'm not saying that they would win for sure, but I'm saying they could compete with any team in the country, the top teams in college football. Because I believe Miami will get up for a big game. And I think that they have the athletes. They would need to scheme up a really good game, right? You need an A++ game from Heatherman and Dawson. You need the ball to go roll your way a couple times, bounce your way, and then I think that Miami could hang. I do. So with that being said, I don't want the season to be over. I don't want to go play in a meaningless Pop-Tarts Bowl. Nobody cares about those. I still get mad whenever they lose them because I hate losing. Nobody cares about these bowl games. If you're not talking about a conference championship or something that involves the college football playoffs, nobody cares. I know I don't. I'm going to watch it. I'll be mad when they lose. I'll celebrate it when they win. Don't get me wrong. But I don't care. Even when we talk about the Miami Hurricanes and the season and stuff on this channel, you'll notice I always reference the regular season. Because I don't care about that meaningless bowl game that half of the the players opt out of. Not just Miami, but the other team as well. It's cool to see the backups in the future and all that, but as far as it being a win-loss at the end of the day, it was for nothing. Everybody likes to talk about Miami ain't won a bowl game in X amount of years. Yes, it's annoying, but in today's world of college football, do I really care that much? No, I don't. So what I'm saying is I want Miami to play something meaningful at the end of this regular season. I don't want it to be over. I waited so long for it to get here, and now here we are coming up on game number 12, the final game of the regular season. Guys, this is it. So I'm hoping that they can sneak into the playoffs. Maybe that miracle scenario happens, and they can make it to the ACC championship game. Personally, I don't think so. I wrote that off many weeks ago. But maybe. It's not impossible. When it comes to Pitt, I don't know. I don't know, man. But I know it's going to be competitive. I know it's going to be a heck of a game. And Miami is going to have to play one of their best games of the season. This Pitt team is hungry. And they're still alive in a lot of ways for a lot of things. And I know how helpful this could be if Miami could come out, because now they say, well, you were supposed to dominate Virginia Tech. You were supposed to hang 50 on these guys, and you couldn't do it. Then if you turn around, Pitt beat Georgia Tech, the team everybody was hyping up. Number 16 in the country. Going to be ACC champions. They are the team that's going to be in the playoffs. Now all the brackets have, the projected brackets have SMU in it, right? Pitt puts a beat down for 90% of the game on Georgia Tech. Then if Miami comes out and puts a beat down on that team, what are they going to say? Huh? Now what? So I hope so bad that Miami travels to Pitt and just handles business in a big way. I'm smiling just thinking about it. But I still don't know yet, not till we break it down. So just kind of let me know your thoughts, initial early thoughts on Pitt. Are you already throwing in the towel? Do you think this team's not capable of beating the big bad Pitt Panthers? And what about this disrespect? Do you believe that there's, this push to kind of put this narrative out there that Miami doesn't deserve it, Miami's not good enough, Miami didn't earn it? Because I used to think it was silly to talk about that. But it's very interesting when you put Miami right on the edge of taking it to the next level, taking another step forward, and how now all of a sudden I hear style points for Miami. And like I said, I'm guilty of talking about that too, because I didn't want this to happen. I wanted there to be no questions, which starts with winning Louisville and SMU. But then you find yourself in this situation, so you try to make the most of it. So win big, so they don't question it. But I don't know if when I was watching that Utah game, if I heard them mention style points a single time. I don't know if I remember hearing them talk about that in the BYU game. And they want to talk about head-to-head matters with some of these other teams. And then they go to Miami, and it's just like it's ignored. Right? Like, I fully understand that Notre Dame is playing better football right now. I acknowledge that. I know that Miami lost those 2 conference games. I understand. But are the expectations that are set on Miami different from some of these other teams? Are they more forgiving when it comes to them? Is it because they don't want, I don't know. Am I crazy? Talk to me. Talk to me. 1 game left. Finish strong. As fans, let's enjoy it, because we've been waiting and waiting. And now I blinked and it's over. Regular season. Remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one.